Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is class 4 in our shoulder series, and so hopefully you're starting to feel stronger and more supported by the core. And hey, Amanda, welcome, and the upper body. And today we'll be exploring asymmetry in the shoulders. So still trying to find that strength and support and spaciousness, but it's going to be a little more challenging because the way the shoulders are relating to the torso is going to be asymmetrical. And if you're watching me, it's kind of a clue to what our peak pose experience is going to be like. So with that, take your quarter turn to your left. Extend your legs and recline. Let the earth support you. And as we explore asymmetry in the body, we will be doing a lot of twisting, and it can be really helpful to start to think of the body as an X, where the right arm relates to the left leg. The left arm relates to the right leg, and they cross right in the middle, right? Actually pretty close to your belly button. That's convenient. And so if it helps you, you can reach your arms overhead and like literally make your body like a huge X, but you don't have to. Your body still works that way whether or not it looks like an X or not. And let's just breathe here. I always like to start with breathing, but maybe as you feel the breath and you feel the weight of the body, you can have that little seed planted of just visualizing and experiencing this X shape. And let's just take a few breaths like that. And I'm noticing that having my arms like this right away is sort of a lot in the shoulders. So give yourself permission to make any adjustments. Maybe the hands reach down a little bit, the arms soften, elbows bend. It's going to be really essential in class today that you pay attention and give yourself those opportunities to say like, oh, this feels a little tight. Then how can you accommodate, right? Try it right now. Change the angle of the arms. Can you find a place where there's more evenness? And then gently press the hands away from you. Let the shoulder blades glide down the back and then rest the arms evenly on the mat. Start to draw some circles with the feet, just waking up the bottom half of the X. And then relax the legs and just circle the right leg. And as you circle the right leg, bring a little extra awareness to the left shoulder blade, the left side of the rib cage, and just notice or visualize the connection between that right leg circling and the left shoulder blade stabilizing. And then relax and do the other one. So now the left leg circles. Hi, Mom. And sometimes with these cues, you might not necessarily feel the connection, and that's totally fine. You can just visualize it. It's like you're trying to wake it up with your awareness. It's like, oh, is there a pathway there? How can I experience it? And sometimes just visualizing it eventually gives your body enough information to use the pathway. And now just relax both legs And start to bend the knees, gently placing soles of feet to the mat. Reach the hands towards the heels, and let's just do a few hip lifts, some baby bridge poses, just allowing some weight to come into the feet. Make any adjustments, walking the feet forward or wider so that ankles feel evenly supported, knees feel evenly supported, and you're able to push down into the shoulders to let the body weightlessly float up. Never worrying about height, but rather trying to feel as light and supported as possible. The next time the hips come down, pull the knees into the chest, wrap the arms around the legs, and the next time you exhale, let the body lift towards the thighs. And then gently melt the back of the body down, replace the soles of the feet to the earth, and lift just the left leg. Bring your right hand to the left thigh and just gently squeeze hand and thigh together. So you're waking up that half of the X. Take a couple of breaths. Make sure the hip flexors aren't over dominating here. If they are, push and squeeze less, or grab behind the leg and kick, and you'll just wake up the back half of the X. Yeah. And actually, let's all try that because that feels really good. And then lift the left leg, lift the right arm, and bring the hand to wherever it easily touches on the leg. And just gently start to slide the arm down the leg. Let the foot and leg point forward any amount. Bend the knee if you ever need to unload the hip flexor. And then extend the leg, slide the hand up. And just do that a couple of times. And we're really just trying to start to wake up this pathway between the right side and the left. The next time the leg is extended upward, bring fingertips behind ears, bend the knees a little bit, and take a half bicycle, bringing the right elbow towards the outside of the knee. And then recline back down, kick the leg forward. We'll do this a few times. If you'd like to sync it with your breath, exhale up, and inhale as the whole body expands and reaches. Sometimes I like to keep my head hovering so this line stays on and I don't have to start from scratch. The next time you're curled up towards the leg, stay up, but then extend the leg. You're still in the crunch. Slowly point the foot forward. It doesn't have to go all the way down, but if that feels good, you can do that. And then release the body down. Reach the hands towards the heels. Drag the left foot in to meet the right. Lift the hips. And we'll do that on the other side. So hips lower, right shin hovers, left hand to thigh, and just say hello to the right leg. Start to slide the hand up and down the leg. If it feels good, you can even give yourself a little massage. My right quad is always tight and sore, so maybe that's why I only told you to do it on the right side. And the next time the leg lifts, pause there. Bring fingertips behind ears and just start to curl up half bicycle. You can bend the right knee if that feels better. And then inhale to recline and kick the heel forward. And just take a few on your own. Exhale to compress, shortening the space of the X. It can be really fun to notice how the left side of the rib cage squeezes toward the front of that right hip. The internal and external obliques actually connect across the midline of the body. And the next time you're squeezed in that half bicycle, extend the leg any amount and just slowly Exhale and lower the leg down. Bend the knee at any time. Release the body at any time. You don't want any strain. And then set the head down. Drag the heel in. One last bridge pose, and use it as an opportunity to just feel the back of the shoulders. Let the hips gently sway from side to side, and as you do that, notice how the weight shifts, and you might feel the left scapula take a little more of the weight and support you, and then the right. Make sure you're breathing gently and naturally. And I forgot to tell you to hit play on your music, so at any time, feel free to do that. And come back to center. Take one full steady breath at center and try to feel evenness across the back of the shoulders, supporting you, the back of the arms. And then try to release one vertebra at a time, which takes patience and consciousness and subtle awareness. And then lift arms and legs and give everything a shake at whatever pace is useful for you. So sometimes it's a vigorous shake, sometimes it's a slow motion, jello, oozy, gooey kind of movement. And then grab behind the legs, bend the knees deeply, and kick into the legs to roll up. Hi, everybody. Bring the hands behind you and then lower onto the elbows and give yourself permission to point the fingertips outward. I find that's more comfortable on my shoulders. You don't really want to feel any like deep sensations in the shoulders. And start to shift the weight from elbow to elbow. And notice how the back of the arm, the back of the shoulder rise up to support the back of the heart. And then let the knees start to tip from side to side. And as you do this, see if you can feel how when the knees go to the right, what does the left shoulder do? Can you feel that connection between right hip and left armpit? And then go the other way. And just keep visualizing that X across the body. The next time the knees go to the right, it should be towards the screen. Roll all the way onto the side and let the left arm just follow that momentum and unfurl overhead. And then release the left arm down, and we're just going to do a little bit of work in the right shoulder. So get really relaxed so the body starts to almost like drip off of the arm. And then push down into the arm and notice how you can create more space in the joint and support in the front and the back of the shoulder. And then start to move at your own pace here and try to avoid the end range. So try to say, okay, I know how to stop before I slump all the way, and I know how to stop even before I'm like all the way emerged from my shoulder, because we don't want to be at either end. If you'd like, you can float the top arm up. It feels really nice. And being at the end range isn't going to hurt you, but it can start to stress the joint. And so especially when we add more weight into the joints later, it's going to be really valuable to find this middle ground. And then let's roll over to the other side. So I know you won't be able to see me, but it's the same thing. So notice how the right arm can follow the momentum and sweep overhead. Make any adjustments with the bottom arm, the angle of the fingers so it feels comfortable, and then get really relaxed. And then start to let the whole body emerge and lift out of that shoulder. And then just start to explore the middle ground. And make sure your knees feel happy. I know when we really focus on the upper body, sometimes we forget about everything else. Option to lift that top arm like we did before. Annapurna has her arm along her side body, and it looks really nice, almost like her body's like lifting up to squeeze into the arm. And then the next time you find that lovely middle ground, pause, and then slowly roll to the center and push into the hands. Cross the left ankle over the right and plant the right hand behind you. Bend the right elbow, bring a little extra weight on the pinky side and start to take some springs. And then push into the right hand and drop the knees so you can pivot into tabletop facing the opposite direction. And let's try that a couple times. So right hand underneath the heart, tuck toes, hover knees, push down into the right hand, find that same space in the shoulder and let the knees pivot. And just go a couple times in that direction. And the next time you're in tabletop, pause there and we'll go the opposite direction. So now left hand comes underneath the heart, push into the left hand, and the magic trick here is when you flip, the opposite ankle is automatically in front. You don't have to think about it, it's just there, but that's how you're able to go in both directions. The next time you're in table, pause there, press the hips back to the heels, flatten the feet, let the forehead melt, and just assess your shoulders. In fact, let's draw a big circle around our bodies with our hands. Reach the fingertips away from you. Grab onto the heels if that's comfortable, and just let the shoulders relax and connect with your breath. Feel the body expanding and softening. And then place hands to either side of the head. Push down into the hands, slowly rising up to tabletop. Paw the hands forward just a little bit. Tuck the toes. And before we leave the hands, let's do one more side core thing. So hover the knees and then just start to swivel the knees from side to side. And as you do this, try to feel, again, that cross line of the body. So as the knees go to the right, really push into the left hand and notice if the left hand can support you a little extra. And then same thing as the knees go to the left, push into the right hand. And then from center, push into both hands, keep the knees bent, let the hips lift. And then gently allow the legs to expand and fill Adho Mukha Svanasana. Take a couple of breaths here. Notice the support of the upper body, connecting all the way into the core. And then sway the hips from side to side. As the hips sway to the right, let the left hand drag in just an inch. And then hips go the other way. And the cross core thing works for you here without you even having to think about it. Whatever way the hips go, the opposite arm drags in just from that momentum. Keep the knees deeply bent. Let the head hang heavy. And then start to climb up the legs. Push into the feet. And slowly come all the way up to standing and just pause. And absorb your practice so far. Assess your body. Breathe into any areas of tightness or dullness. And if you're following along with the music, you can go to the second track. You're also welcome to have a sip of water. Okay, so we'll play with our same standing sequence from last week, but then we will add on and it will become even more exciting. And it's okay if you weren't here last week, but it's fun to know the secrets of where we're headed. So from Tadasana, just take a moment to shift the weight from foot to foot, and imagine you're just pawing out the mat, kind of like how you watch a cat or a dog like make their spot really comfortable before they lay down. And then come to center, bring equal weight in the 3 points of each foot. Imagine you've got those really thick, heavy rubber bands. They're still on your ankles after all this time. Grab onto them, fold forward a little bit, and start to stretch them forward and up. And notice that sense of tension through the front of the body supporting you. And then let the rubber band start to pull you forward. But again, you have to resist, right? You have to be very strong. Otherwise, you would go forward too quickly. Take a couple of pulses like that. You don't have to go very far forward. It's kind of fun to let your arms swing back at the end, but it takes a lot of imagination to be able to do that while you're using these rubber bands. And the next time you're overhead, instead of folding forward, let the left knee lift, let the hands come down. And just pause. It's okay if your balance is a little unsteady. Point the toes forward, bend the right knee so you feel really supported by the right leg, and then glide the left foot back and sweep the arms forward into Virabhadrasana 1. Take a moment to shift the right foot over to the right or forward any amount, but really make sure the pelvis feels supported and buoyant here. Press into the feet and let the whole front of the body lengthen as it supports you. And then shift the weight into the front foot and spring the left leg up. Drag the hands down an imaginary wall inside of that leg. And pause and take a couple of breaths and just gently squeeze the leg towards the hand and the hand towards the leg, kind of like we did on the ground. And then cross the left leg in front of the right, lift the arms, and let the whole right side body open. I'm going to turn just so you can see this Krishna pose. Nice side bend. Breathe into the right side. And then push into the feet. Let the arms drop to the right and turn all 10 toes to the right so you're in a short straddle facing away from me. And that was just a practice round. So sweep the arms up and to the left, turn the feet going back to where you came from, and then bend the knees a little bit and shift the left foot back to meet the right. Drop the arms. Pause, let that sequence settle. And then we'll do the same thing on the opposite side. So grab the rubber bands. Let's just take one big back bend. And then as the body pulls forward, right knee springs up, hands spring back. Point the right toes forward, bend the left knee, send the weight back into the left heel. Drag right foot back as arms sweep forward. Find your comfortable Virabhadrasana 1. I like to go really nice and wide here, and then let the whole front of the body support you. You should not feel anything in the low back here. If you are, try taking a shorter stance. And then shift the weight into the left foot. Spring the right foot wide into our standing half crow. And then just take a moment squeezing arm to leg. Cross the right leg in front of you. Bend the right knee. Lift the left arm. And just take your nice side bend to the left. And then push into the feet, sweep the arms to the left, and now we're in a straddle, hopefully facing the screen. Yay, it worked. Everyone that I can see is facing the screen. Way to go, everybody. That's more an accomplishment for me than it is for you guys. So start to bend into one knee at a time, and let the back leg straighten and push you in the opposite direction. And you'll notice you might start to spread the feet a little wider. Let that happen, right? As you kick, the stance wants to grow, let it. And then pause at center, turn all 10 toes towards me, and take a moment to stabilize the ankles. So you might need to bring a little extra energy into the outer edges, but keep that big toe down. We still have the rubber bands on our ankles, but now we're going to play with this X. So have you ever started a lawnmower before? This is a very similar action. Bend the left knee a little bit. Grab the rubber band, right hand to left ankle, and pull the rubber band up and back, right? And try to feel the sense of resistance all across the whole front side of the body from right arm to left leg. And take a couple of these pulses on your own. And I like to exhale up because then I can start to feel the strength and the actual muscular connections between the right side of the body and the left. And the next time you lift, turn the right toes out and just pause in Virabhadrasana 2. And give yourself permission to inch the right foot forward and gently start to push into one foot at a time. So you shift a little forward and then you shift a little back, and let it be really gentle, kind of floaty feel, but the feet initiate the movement. And the next time you're reaching over the right foot, bring the weight into the right heel, lift the left heel, and swing the left arm forward just for one moment in a pretty extended lunge. And then bend the right knee a little bit more and just play with lifting that left foot and then bringing it back down. And the arms can swing with you as you do this. So as you shift forward, the arms might swing forward, and as the left foot comes down, the arms might swing back, or let them do whatever they're naturally doing with your momentum. The next time the left foot comes down, turn all 10 toes towards me and just pause at center for a moment. You might notice the asymmetry in the body. And now we'll balance it out. So let's start by finding our straddle by kicking into one leg as you bend into the opposite knee. And then just let it start to expand as the body wants more space. And you'll find a place where you're like, yeah, I don't really want to go further than this. And then you pause there. Turn all 10 toes, stabilize the ankles, push down into the feet, filling up evenly across the body. And now we grab the rubber band on our left ankle, or right ankle, left hand, and start to, there's another lawnmower over here that we're starting. Pull the rubber band, lengthening all the way up and back. Inhale to buoyantly fold forward, and then on each exhale, reach up and away from the leg. And if you're not feeling the connection, again, that's totally fine, totally normal. But sometimes slowing down can help. Sometimes not going quite as far forward and back. And the next time you're pulling up and open, just turn the left toes out, and we'll start in probably a short Virabhadrasana 2, that's okay. Start to push into the right foot, sending you forward, and then push into the left foot, sending you back. And as you push from side to side, give your legs permission to spread out. They might not want to. My hips don't like going very far into this pose, so don't assume anything. And the next time you're shifted over the left leg, heel toe the right foot in a little bit, push down into the right toe so the heel can lift, and then drop the left arm. Let it swing forward one moment in our crescent lunge. And then shift the weight into the left heel. Let the arms swing back as the right leg lifts. And then set the toes down and arms just weightlessly float up. Take a few of these Virabhadrasana 3 prep poses. And if your stance feels really short, it's totally fine to pause and heel toe the left foot over to the left so it's a little easier to balance. And the next time the right toes come down, pause there, turn all 10 toes towards me, bring hands to heart center, and just soften the knees a little bit. Make sure the weight is mostly in the heels. And then look down at the hands. Let the hands be really soft, as if you were cupping a firefly between the palms. And notice the parts of each hand that are touching. So for me, it's mostly the pinky side, the base of the wrist, and then a little bit on the thumb side. And just notice how soft the hands are. And as we come back down and we bring our hands to the earth, we're going to try to contact the earth in the same sweet, loving way where we don't want to crush the firefly. We're not going to go to the floor just yet. Hopefully you've got a door or a wall nearby. We'll just do a little experiment at the wall with our firefly hands. So you can watch me really quickly. It's almost like you're doing a plank at the wall, but you're a little closer. And you're just going to play with bouncing in and out of the wall. And if you want it to be more challenging, the feet will be further away because you've got a further distance to travel. And if that's too much, then you want to be nice and close. And eventually we'll start turning the shoulders so that the hands are touching at different places, but we're still really supported. So once you've got the hang of it, you can explore your shoulders a little bit, and I'll watch. And then the idea is you want to feel buoyant and supported and springy. Right? And you can always start closer to establish that sense. And this is a great like anti-gravity magic trick, right? You get to experience your shoulders, but in a less weighted way. And once you've got the hang of it, you can almost imagine your hands are on a steering wheel. Turn the steering wheel a little bit and then try that direction. And do that a couple of times. And then just keep turning the steering wheel and let it start to be organic. You just want to make sure you always feel supported. Make sure you can breathe. And then we'll keep experimenting. Bring the hands back to like your neutral plank. But now turn the body 45 degrees to the right. And try the same thing, but start with less because it's surprisingly challenging to keep that left shoulder nice and supported. And just notice how the rotation of the body changes your experience of the shoulders, your ability to support them. I notice that I don't like going as close into the wall. Like I almost have a little bit less range of functional supported movement. And so I do think less is more here. And then try going the other way. So 45 degrees to the left. And it might be very asymmetrical. You might notice like, oh, one side is a lot easier. Or one shoulder feels really stiff when I twist away from it. And the last experiment, you're going to go to the right, but now you're going to be 90 degrees. So the left side of the body is going to face your door. And please don't go quite as far because this is a lot more intense on the shoulder. And so notice how conscious you have to be as you're twisted further away from the wall. And bring a lot of focus into that back shoulder and that back arm. And then go the other way. And you've probably figured out that this is a similar positioning to our peak pose, our revolved crow pose. And so this is an awesome way to even assess, like, does my body like this movement? Does this feel comfortable? And if the answer is no, don't worry, I'll give you lots of options. But maybe don't try to add more weight to this position if it's already a little odd. And then release the arms down. And I guess as long as we're away from our mat, let's go for a little walk and really let the arms swing. Like imagine you're like Gumby or like Mr. Rogers or somebody that makes you just feel like super swingy and jolly. And the cool thing is, as we walk, the X of the body works without us thinking about it, right? It's always opposite arm and leg. And then try taking some bigger steps and notice if the arms just naturally swing a little bit more jovially. Okay, and let's walk on back to our mat and turn so your right shoulder is facing the screen, and step the feet wide, and we'll just start to slowly come down towards the mat. If Malasana isn't comfortable for you, you can just take your time. We're eventually just meeting with our hips down and our feet forward. So it doesn't really matter how you get there, but I do like shifting through Malasana. And then let's all bring the hips down. And last week we took some crow rolls. So we'll start with that by bringing big toes to touch, curling forward, bringing the triceps to the inner thighs, and just feeling that connection. Take a couple of breaths into the back body. And then slowly roll up and then hover the feet in the same position. And if this already feels hard, then you don't have to roll, but it's pretty fun to try rolling and coming back up. And the next time you roll up, squeeze the legs together, let them drop towards the left, and bring your hands to the right for a side crow. And then go the opposite direction. And then do that a couple of times. And the side crow roll, not for everyone, but if you're feeling up for it, you can try. And the trick is to really squeeze the left arm into the right thigh so you can maintain that connection as you roll. And if it went okay and you want to try the other side, you can. And then just to end on a high note, we'll end with our middle crow. And as you roll up, just pause for a moment and take some nice Baddha Konasanas, like just gently releasing the knees, melting through the hips, melting through the shoulders. And then extend one leg at a time. Bring your hands behind you and just melt onto the earth. We did a lot of repatterning kind of work. And so let's take some extra time to get out of the way by just focusing on the breath, letting the body be soft, and let go of any thoughts or ideas or judgments or anticipations, and just try to be fully absorbed in the breath. And then we will begin by dragging our heels in and starting to expand the front of the body in bridge pose. And if you would like to, you can walk the shoulder blades together, reach the hands towards the ankles. And I've been enjoying keeping my pinky side of my hand and arm down and just pushing into the outside, letting my chest expand. Feel free to try that. Let the back of the neck really lengthen, and you can even gently tick-tock the nose from side to side just to get a little massage across the occiput. And then let the shoulder blades melt wide so the back of the heart connects to the mat, and just release one vertebra at a time. Squeeze the knees into the chest. Bring both hands to the right side of the knees and gently curl up in a side crow crunch. And then push the left arm into, or the left arm into the right thigh, and just notice if that provides a little extra stability here. And then gently recline, re-enter your bridge pose. And then as the spine releases, you'll roll up the other way. And we'll do this one more time on each side, moving at your own pace. I enjoy inhaling into the bridge and exhaling into the side crow crunch. You can also pay attention to really squeezing the legs together here, and almost like you have a mermaid tail and they're united and right to your core. We'll end with bridge pose and set the spine down. And then roll on to the right side and reach the arms towards me. We'll just do a little bit of twisting here. So imagine your left hand is like the rising sun, and it's slowly rising towards noon. And then squeeze your left thigh in like you're doing a crunch, so you can really feel the front body engage. Keep that engaged as your sun hand starts to set, and let the left leg go with it, so that you're not coming into a deeper twist, but your core takes you over to center. And then slowly roll all the way onto the left side, and we'll do it on the other side. So now the right hand lifts to noon. Crunch the right knee in. Keep all that strength. As the right arm continues to travel, notice how the right leg goes with it. So you're not really going into too deep of a twist. And then the left leg follows, and then the left arm. And do this a couple of times on your own. I notice when people do side crow, a lot of times they twist further than their muscular strength can support them. And instead, the goal is we really want to feel very integrated. It's not about a deep twist, but rather about deep support. The next time you're on your right side, everything is balanced out. We'll roll onto our back, grab behind the legs, and let's just rock and roll up to seated so it's a little mellower. And then from seated, cross the left ankle in front of the right, right hand behind you, left hand high, and flip to your table. Left hand underneath you, push down into the left hand and flip back into whatever this is, and then go back the way you came, so to the left, and we'll just pause and table. I like to do it a couple times so both sides get some action. And step the hands forward, one hand print, bend the knees, push into the hands to send the hips really high, and just swivel the hips from side to side. And let the knees start to turn, and the feet and knees are always going to be pointed in the same direction. And then let that action start to drag one hand in at a time, eventually to your forward fold. And when you make it to your forward fold, bend the knees so deeply that the body drapes over the thighs. Take a couple of breaths. And then, with or without the help of your hands, push down into the legs and slowly let the whole body unfold. And just make sure the spine, especially the head and neck, feels supported. So sometimes using the hands on the legs helps. And reach the arms overhead and just pause. Step the feet wide and just pause in this big X like we started on our back. And then melt the arms down. And if you're following along with our musical accompaniment, you can skip ahead actually 2 tracks to the one called Gratitude. And feel free to cultivate some gratitude. Feel free to grab a sip of water. Okay, a lot of build-up. We had a lot of building blocks, and now is the moment when you get to build a whole castle with those building blocks. Yes, I like your little dance, Amanda. We're excited. Okay, so we're going to put all of that stuff together, and we'll see where it takes us. So let's begin by grabbing our rubber bands and taking a big front stretch. And then as you start to pull to neutral, hands down, float the right knee, step the right foot in front of you, and slowly start to drag the right foot back as the arms reach forward, Virabhadrasana. 1. And then shift the weight forward, pull the hands down, imaginary wall, and right leg springs forward into crow. This time, float the hands a little higher than the knee and allow the knee to start to sway from side to side. So the hands start to come towards the outside of the leg. And notice here, you can't really over twist, right? Because then you would fall over. And so the amount of the angle that your knee points to the left is probably about how far it's going to be when you're doing this safely, right? So if it doesn't go very far now, don't let it go further later. Next time it crosses over, set the foot down, bend the right knee, take your nice side bend, and then turn the toes to the left, let the arms swing into your straddle. Push into one leg at a time to find your wider stance. And then grab your left hand to right ankle and pull the rubber band across. We'll do 3 of these right into Virabhadrasana 2, surfing, pushing one foot at a time to allow the body to sway. And the next time it sways to the left, lift the right heel, swing the right arm forward, and then just hop that foot forward just a little bit and start to play with your Virabhadrasana 3 pulses, and keep all your weight in the front heel. You don't want the weight to come into the toes because that can bring stress into that left knee. The next time you float into your version of Virabhadrasana 3, let everything soften, bend the knees, and find your firefly hands. Once again, cross the inner thighs together and just twist a little bit to the left, but not very far. And then send the right foot back and slowly melt inside of the left foot so you're in a low lunge. Walk the left foot generously over to the left, and then push into the hands, send the left leg up to 3-legged plank. Slowly shift forward into plank option to drop the back knee and bring the left knee towards the left elbow, and then send it back. And then left knee towards the right elbow. This is the positioning of side crow. And then send it back. And then if your knee is lowered, lift it back up and step the left foot outside of the hands from where it came from. Drop the right knee, take some hip circles, come on to fists just to save your wrists, though hopefully firefly hands really helps your wrists. And then when you release your wrists, try to find those firefly hands on the mat. And so most of the weight's in the pinky and the fingertips and a little in the thumb. And push down into the outside of the right hand. Slowly lift the left hand, twisting to the left. And then 2 things are going to happen. The left hand's going to lower to where it came from, and the right knee is going to step forward and squeeze in towards the nose. Nice. And then step that foot back and go right into the twist. and start to play with that on your own. So the inhale is going to expand you into the twist, and the exhale is going to curl you forward into the crunch. And the magic of this positioning is the crunch shortens the space from right hip to left shoulder, and the lunge lengthens it. So that X is coming together and then pulling apart. And the next time you crunch forward, play with bringing the left knee outside of the left hand and push the left hand down for just a moment. And then step the right foot back, drop the hips once again, and send the left leg back to meet it. Push back into Bakasana, melt the forehead, roll from side to side, turn the palms up and down, massaging the wrists. And then float up to tabletop, walk the hands forward, one handprint, tuck toes under, hover knees, push into hands, find your down dog, and then start to swivel toes from side to side, letting knees and hips follow. And then let that swiveling drag one hand back at a time to your forward fold. Slowly push down into the feet. Make your way up to standing in the way that supports you best. We'll meet with arms overhead in our big X. And then release the arms down. Grab onto your rubber bands, pull them long, letting the whole front of the body open. And then as everything comes to neutral, left leg springs up, hands drop. Step the left foot forward, bend the right knee, and slowly drag the foot back. If you need some space, you can hop forward. Take a moment in Virabhadrasana 1. And then spring forward into your crow prep pose. And then lower the knee a little, lift the hands a little, and just start to sway from side to side, noticing this relationship between the upper body and the hips and how they're connected and they're strong. And if they don't feel connected and strong, take really tiny little movements here. Try taking less range of motion, Dana. Nice, that looks great. And then step the left foot in front of the right, bend the left knee, let the right side of the body open, take a breath. And then turn the toes to the right, drop the arms, pause in your straddle, and then kick into the left foot, kick into the right foot. Let your straddle spread out. And then grab rubber band, right hand to left thigh. Take your 3 lawnmower starts. And the next time you lift, turn the toes to the right, pausing in Virabhadrasana 2. Push into one foot at a time just to lengthen and glide. And then push into the left foot. Let the left arm drop. Swing it forward. Hop the left foot forward a little. And then just start to take your Virabhadrasana 3 pulses. You're welcome to hold the pose if the body's craving that, or you can just take these little springy movements. And the next time you come into it, find your firefly hands, push the hands towards one another, feeling the shoulders stabilize. Bend the right knee, bend the left knee, squeeze inner thighs together, twist to the right. And then stay low, plant the hands inside the right foot, send the left foot back, walk the right foot over to the right, and then glide the right foot back for 3-legged dog. Shift forward, right knee to right elbow. Shift back. Right knee to left elbow. There's our side crow action again. Shift back. And then step the foot outside of the hands. Lower the back knee. Take some little circles just to relax. Option for fists. Fists are such a great way to find more strength in the wrists. So every time I do them, I'm like, oh, I should do this more. Go the opposite direction with your hip circles. And then plant your left hand, firefly hand, push into the pinky edge. Slowly stack shoulders and hand for your lunge. Lift the back knee. And then let the right hand lower as you shift the weight forward and squeeze the knee in. And take some pulses on your own. Inhaling for expansion and exhaling to compress. Beautiful. And the next time you compress, bring left knee towards the outside of the right arm. And just notice how that feels in terms of how deep of a twist you're in, if that's accessible and comfortable. And then step the left foot back, step the right foot back to meet it, lower the knees and push back to Bakasana. Let yourself rest in stillness, or you can just gently rock from side to side and connect with your breath. And then walk the hands in, slowly rolling up to seated on your knees, and turn to face me. Shift the weight over to the left so you can extend the right leg and bring the left heel in. And just take a nice side bend over to the right. And then everything that's lengthening out, let that start to shorten and pull the right knee in to meet the left. Plant the hands and just play with hovering the legs a little bit and then set them down. Let the body unfold in Parsva Shirshasana. And so each time you come into this compressive movement, just play with soft hands, lifting the body any amount. Keep the feet down at first. Did you like that sneaky entry, Annapurna? I see you smiling like you have like a secret or something. And so this is an awesome way to keep everything soothing. You don't have to go any further. But if this is feeling really good, right? If as you're pushing down, the body wants to lift higher, right? It's like so often we come into this pose and gravity just pulls us down into it. You got to earn this pose. You got to resist gravity to get into it. Let's do one more. And if your body does want a little bit more here, you can play with walking the hands in, lifting the hips, and just gently shifting your center of gravity to the left. If that feels good, try lifting just the top leg. And if that feels good, you can try lifting the bottom leg. Release down and unfold right into your Parsva Shirshasana. Take a couple of extra breaths. And then if you would like to try one more time, you can. But the goal is to give your body breaks. And so you just try floating and then you unfold. And you have the option to try one more before we go the other way, or stay in Parsva Shirshasana and just start to unwind that shoulder a little bit. I feel it so much more in my left shoulder. Do you guys too? I feel like my left shoulder has to work a lot harder, so can give it some love right now. Thank you for helping me fly. And then slowly come back up to center. Soles of feet together. Just pause for a moment. And we'll do that same thing on the other side. Bring the right heel in, left foot out, and just start with Jana Shirshasana, really trying to create space in the right side of the body. And then float back up, plant the hands over to the side and drag the left leg in. And then let the left side unfurl, side bend. And now that you know where we're going, you can move at your own pace, but really try to take your time, noticing this, your incremental ability to just lift a little bit more. Resist gravity a little bit more. Make sure you're breathing, especially on the lift. It's not just an exhale and hold, right? If you can't breathe, then you can't safely sustain the posture. That's what I always say. And then if you feel like, okay, I get it, I'm ready to try, pause, set up your hands, lift the hips, and then just start to bring the left elbow in to meet the right knee. So most of the weight is in the left hand, but most of the work is in the right. So bring your awareness into the right shoulder and let the head lower a little bit. And then bring the hips down. You don't want to stay too long. You just want to keep coming into that shape. And each time you do it, your body's going to figure it out a little bit better. So make yourself take the rest, the expansive pose, and then try again. And each time you try, it might become a little more clear. I really enjoy just lifting the top leg because it helps me lower my head and get my body in the right positioning. Nice, Dana. Last one. And then we'll all meet in Parvata Jana Shirshasana, and allow that top arm to do nothing. Maybe it's ready to do nothing. Or if it feels good, you can just gently scoop the arm down and scoop it up, letting the spine gently rotate. Sometimes it feels nice to graze the back of the hand against the floor and do some backward circles. And the next time the hand comes down, just gently walk the hands in, helping to support you up to neutral. Bring the soles of the feet together and gently squeeze the legs together with the hands. Wrap the arms around the legs. Melt forward just a little bit. Can rock from side to side. And if you're following along with the music, you can go to the next track. It's a little bit more relaxing. And start to turn to the left and support yourself with your arms as you ever so gently make your way to your back, and just try swaying a little bit from side to side to unload one shoulder at a time, and then keep swaying even when you're on the ground. So gently push into the left arm, let the knees sway to the right, push into the right arm, knees go the other direction. And then point the knees straight up. Let the weight balance between both shoulder blades. And take a few conscious breaths into the back of the heart. Just breathing awareness and space into the back body. Squeeze the arms in alongside the body. And start to push into the left foot so that you roll literally onto the right arm. And if this is too much, if this is uncomfortable for you, let the arm come out of the body any amount. I find this is a really amazing massage. So if it feels good, you can start to roll forward and back. And you don't want to feel like you're dislocating your shoulder, of course, but you can make just gentle movements. Another option is to reach the arm forward and overhead, and this is a really gentle way to massage. So if the bottom arm is too intense, you can just reach it long underneath you. And we'll take one more moment on this side. And then let the thighs float up so they're at a right angle to the body. Stack the hands. Lift the left hand and the left thigh and just slowly roll over the back to the other side. And just do a couple rolls like this. And just notice the difference between right arm and left arm after whatever massage technique you employed. And then pause on your back, place the soles of the feet down, place the arms down, hug them into the body. If you liked the first way, then just roll right onto that left arm. If that was too much, reach the left arm overhead and then roll onto the left side. Both are amazing, very beneficial massages, so just choose whichever feels the most fun. And then take a moment to draw the thighs up parallel or perpendicular to the body, reach the hands forward, and then just take a couple of those nice, easy, I want to call these like baby rolls. And we have time for one more movement. If there's something your body is craving, be my guest. I do have something to offer, but I would only try this if you were okay having the arm underneath your body because it's a similar stretch in the shoulder. If you want to try it, I'm trying to figure out how you can see me do this. So from bridge pose, you'll lift the left arm and slowly reach it up and over to the right so that you roll onto the outside of the right arm just a little bit like we were doing before. And then you come to center and you switch sides. And if you're trying this, make sure that the shoulder blade feels stable on the back body. You don't want to feel like the shoulder is coming away from the rib cage. And then after you roll towards the left next, you would be balanced out. And you can finish with just one bridge pose and one Apanasana. And we will make our way to seated for meditation. So you can do that however your body wants to do that. Please grab a cushion or anything that helps you feel supported and like you can relax as much as possible and enjoy your breath. I might zoom in a little bit more. So once you have found a comfortable seat, give yourself permission to slow down and become very still. And notice pause your music if you haven't done that already. And then just notice the physical layer of your body. After those arm rolls, I literally feel like little tingles. Maybe you can feel the temperature of your skin. The beating of your heart. And after all of the focus that you brought to your physical practice, sometimes what's beyond the physical becomes more accessible. And so notice how your breath fills your physical body, but is not of the same fabric. And there is a subtler quality to the breath that connects you to your prana body, this layer of your being that is energetic. And though the breath nourishes you on a physical level, imagine or even feel how it nourishes you energetically. Each time you draw in prana, you're soaking in a charge. A vital energy that goes beyond oxygen. And each time you exhale, you're not just releasing carbon dioxide, you're also releasing, or you have the ability to release tightness in the body, the manifestation of physical tension, mental tension, emotional tension. And though this is a very special layer of our being, there's more. And that's why we use mantra. And so as you continue to breathe and be nourished, connect the breath mantra, hum sa. Hum to each inhale, sa to each exhale. And this helps nourish the mind and the psychic body. And so you're continuing to nourish physical, nourish pranic, and now we're also nourishing the layer of the mind. Mm. When the body is balanced and the breath is smooth and natural and full, and the mind begins to calm, sometimes you can start to feel an even deeper layer of your being. Your inner self is what we call it in yoga, and it is completely perfect, pure being, consciousness, and bliss. And the heart center is our most direct route there. So as you continue to breathe and repeat the mantra, just let the focus be directed towards the heart. And if that feels very far away, that's totally fine. Stay and work at the layer that feels most productive. It might be the breath, it might be the mantra, and it might be the heart center. You're welcome to stay upright for as long as you wish. And you're also welcome to recline for Shavasana. And if after this stillness the body is craving any balancing movements, please feel free to circle the shoulders a little bit, stretch the neck, give yourself a hug, anything that the body wants. Maybe all those things happen at a subtler level with your breath and your awareness. And the final layer of our being, beyond even our own inner self, is our ability to merge with the universal self. And so maybe you're able to soften and release your individuality and just open to connecting beyond your perfect self and to all of perfection and all of its manifestations. And this is called the Ananda Maya Kosha, the bliss body. And so for the final portion of our class, we'll work with whatever layer wants to be worked with, or we'll release completely and trust this deepest part of universal consciousness to support us from the inside out. Hmm. Take a moment to notice the space of your energetic heart center. And notice the breath. And notice the form of the body as a whole. And though we are most familiar with identifying with the body, experiment with being aware of your heart and your breath as you start to bring physical movement. And if you're reclined, keep experimenting as you find a pathway up to seated. We'll all meet with hands at heart, those soft firefly hands. You can ever so gently bow, just acknowledging all of these layers of your being, and whether we're aware of them or not, the bliss body is at the core of our reality. And each time we practice, we get a little closer to realizing that fully. Thank you so much for sharing your practice and your energy. Have a wonderful evening. I'm happy to stick around if there are any questions. If not, I hope to see you soon. And aloha.